Now, the question we want to ask you. We've talked a lot about foreign threats to America, but in your eyes, Mr. Leland King Fawcette, what's the biggest domestic threat to America?
Excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think germs are gonna kill them, so they don't wash their hands. So, excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think, you know what, let's just talk some sense into them. Way up in the Rockies, I ain't talking about Balboa. They ain't afraid to constrict your life, I ain't talking about a boa. If you go to Wyoming, Idaho, or Montana, they live a double life like Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana. They're all shaped like squares, but they sure do know how to get around on the internet and research what is really going down out there in Washington. I'm talking Easton, D.C., but they're so disconnected from reality like ADC, claiming the Chinese is overwatching them like they are May. That's why they pay in cash and don't have credit to this day. But their paranoia is unneeded. Their life is so lackluster. The last time they bought something risky was a porno from Blockbuster. Excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think germs are gonna kill them, so they don't wash their hands. So, excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think germs are gonna kill them, so they don't wash their hands. So they wouldn't be a danger if they just kept to themselves, but they feel like they have to spread misinformation and help the general population to open up their third eye. Don't you know Barack Obama's actually married to a guy? What's the problem if Michelle is actually a man? It'll affect absolutely no one across this land. Plus, gay marriage has been legal for years at this point. Am I supposed to be shocked? I really don't see your point. I think you would be more concerned with government propaganda, cause you claim the world isn't all black and white just like a panda. But instead you're concerned if Adam's real name is Amanda. If you're not fighting the system, you should just shut up like Miranda, cuz excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think germs are gonna kill them, so they don't wash their hands. So, excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think germs are gonna kill them, so they don't wash their hands. So, the line between cautious and crazy is a thick one. Forget being hard-headed, most of them just have a thick one, because they don't listen to reason. And the only thing that's harder than speaking sense into them is the quality of their water that they drink directly from the well that they dug in their yard, because they think it's better than drinking fluoride in the hard chemicals they put in the water to make us all stupid, and then wonder why they fall ill with cholera like they got shot by Cupid's arrow in the bone marrow. Now they act like Jack Sparrow, acquiring gold and silver like a pharaoh with dinero, claiming when the world ends cash will be worthless and dumb. But literally no one can tell the difference between silver and aluminum. So, excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think germs are gonna kill them, so they don't wash their hands. So, excuse me, but I'll say this as nicely as I can. But the greatest threat to us is those crazy Americans who live up in the Rocky Mountains and eat food out of cans. And they think germs are gonna kill them, so they don't wash their hands. So, now this isn't meant to like discount anyone who actually believes the government's trying to kill us, cause you know, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say if you deny just basic science, bro, like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Now, usually when we ask candidates that question, we get the typical, white supremacy, gun violence, yada yada, but no, you went this absolute rabbit hole about those Rocky Mountain hillbilly people.
Well, yeah, I mean, genuinely, they are an actual threat to American society. They just spread around false information that can just be solved with basic science. I understand, they probably sometimes read things on the internet, oh, the pyramids were built by the Illuminati or something, and that's crazy conspiracy theories, whatever, they can believe that. But when you deny basic science, oh, gravity isn't 9.81 meters a second, I can actually fly, that's when I have to actually classify you as a danger, Guns, I'd give a 3-year-old a gun. As long as it's not loaded, he can't hurt no one with it. Fentanyl, as long as as long as you take a small amount, you're not going to die from it. White supremacy is not really that much of an issue, but those science-denying hillbilly people, oh God, Lord have mercy, I would throw them in a camp if I could. Now, are you really going to be mad at me for just expressing, what my genuine answer was and not the cookie-cutter solution that every other political candidate gives?
No, I'm not mad at you. I'm just shocked that you broke out of the stereotypical political candidate mold that 99% of people that we interview answer.
And I'm honestly flattered by your disbelief and willingness to hear me out because it proves that I'm not crazy, like all these other candidates, listen, it's like a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship when it comes to politics, right? If this nation just wants a boyfriend that's gonna lie to her, tell her she's, she looks beautiful when she really looks like a piece of garbage, and just tell her white lies, you can go with those other candidates. But if you want a guy that's actually going to tell you, hey, babe, you're not healthy right now, I can make you better, that's why you come to me, I can make it better for you.